That's got a car script in it. You guys can use that car script, I think. Yeah, you can drop scripts into the note card and then drop those on. Yeah, that's fine. If you have suggestions for them, or if you have anything you need looked at, that's the place I'd drop those. Because actually, believe it or not, that whole thing is designed to send me a message if I log in. One time it'll say, "Hey, you got some stuff here," and same with my mailbox. So anytime you guys need me and I'm not online, that's the best way to do it. Because what ends up happening is sometimes I'll come in and I'm doing too much at once, and my viewer will crash. So I'll get all your in-world messages, but then I lose them because I crashed, and then I don't remember. Like if I didn't quite look as quick as I did, then I won't even know who sent me I won't catch the name. So definitely utilize the note cards and the bot and stuff. So I'm going to talk about some physics stuff because, as you guys know, we have a physics engine. It's a very, very primitive, basic physics engine. It works very, very well for what we do. Everything's running really, really stable. I have, aside to all this, working with Damien as well and doing software stuff and helping and trying to venture into this area. I've noticed that in our physics engine that there's some glitches I'd like to fix, and so I'm still on the path of working on that. And let's see here. One of the things that I want to improve is first the collisions. Collisions don't seem to work very well in here. If you ever notice, if you walk up to another avatar, there's a great big huge distance between you. And same with mesh prims and sculpted prims. And so when you're trying to make stuff and you're using, say, sculpted prims or mesh or something like that, and you're trying to walk up them like a set of stairs, all that's due to the physics engine. Even your avatar has a collision rectangle box around it. And so I'm constantly I've been looking at the methods that the OpenSim developers did. And this is a joke. I'm not making fun of nobody, but never mind. No, I'm not going to say it. That's just funny. But I am looking into trying to fix some of those things. So eventually, one of these days, with these newer updates that we have, hopefully, not with the physics. No, physics. I found this okay, I'm going to share it. And I'm not poking fun at anybody. I really am not. And this is just me, haha, okay, so I don't mean this to be, offensive, but when OpenSim developers, I look at their software, I think of a bunch of college kids getting together, high on energy drinks, and one of them wrote a bit of code, and then the other one wrote another bit of code, and another one wrote another bit of code, because it doesn't make sense. I'm sorry, but it's funny. It makes me laugh. It makes it hard. But it's still funny. And that's what it looks like when I look at the physics engine. I'm like, oh my gosh. Okay, why'd they do this? Okay, let's see if we can figure out their logic here. And it's like, okay, we just lost all logic. We went on to something else over here. So, it's really funny. And yes, it would seem that just redoing it, but you really have no idea the extent of work that would take. For one person to try to take that on, that would take me about 5 years. Yeah, in about 5 years, I would probably maybe get it done. So I'm trying to make small modifications at a time and seeing if I can work on that and then try to introduce that. So I have a standalone and I'm constantly working on it. I'm like, okay, that didn't work, or now collisions are not registering. I'm just falling straight through the land into the abyss of nothing. And, oops, I turned something off. I should have left it on. And so I'm constantly working with it. There's a lot of different things. But as far as vehicles, we do support physics, but we don't support the physics as you know it. One of the things that I've noticed is collisions. Really odd thing. Back in the day, we had these car scripts, and we were able to run around and drive around with car scripts. And all of a sudden, if you slammed in the two vehicles slammed into each other, the sim would crash. And then it stopped. It went away. We got new stuff, and and it seemed to be working out really well. And now I'm working on the combat sim again, because now people have asked, hey, is combat here now? I've had 4 people ask, and I thought, oh, it's time to get that going again. And I go and the objectives work, the whole combat sim's ready to go, the flag system's done, and now bullets will not collide with another avatar without crashing the sim, or a prim for that matter. I'm like, oh, you gotta be kidding me. You gotta be kidding me, right? That was always working in here until recently, so I don't know what's going on. I gotta figure that out, and that's another thing I gotta work on. So, with OpenSim, it's different here a lot of times with the scripting. Second Life uses one engine, one library, and one source of their information. Maybe there's a good reason for that. Don't know. But with us using 2, we're able to do sometimes a little bit more than Second Life can do, really. You know, the NPCs making a note card from a script and actually writing data to it and saving it and then rereading that data later. That's just fascinating. That's great stuff. I mean, it saves on the amount of scripts that maybe a person would have to implement into their projects and a lot of the lag and stuff like that. So back to the physics. I'm working side by side with both, because eventually I know that if I get the physics engine to kind of clean itself up a little bit and run a little better, I think a lot of us will appreciate it. If you're, like I said, if you're a content creator making sculpt stuff, you know, why is it when you walk up to a rock, say you sculpted it and you use one program, you can walk around it and actually, you know, get on it and kind of simulate the physics, but then you make it with a different program or whatever, it's completely weird. You don't walk on it at all. It's like standing in front of a cube. And then same with mesh. It's really weird with physics. And so, you know, the physics engine is all responsible for that. Everything drawn in world, including your avatar and everyone you see, is responsible from the physics engine. Everything you see on your screen. It's all rendered through the actual viewer, but the software actually directly comes from the physics engine itself. The region, the land, the avatars. When you see another person's avatar, that's the physics engine working there. It's saying, here I am, let's collide, and there's all kinds of neat stuff going on behind the scenes. And that's the kind of software I'm looking at. I'm trying to work with and fix little things here and there. So, improvements, and then sometimes I just totally break it, and then I get some improvements, and sometimes I totally break it. So that's about the progress right now. Just want you guys to know. All right. Cool. So, any scripting questions now that I'm done talking about what I do? College kids on power drinks. That was pretty funny. That was a good metaphor. I think they're awesome, though. The do it button. You know, I think with your swing set, that's going to be something very simple to do. You know, I think I think once I get a chance, I look at it. I think I'll fix it. Yeah. I agree. Got to fix it. Sometimes we had, you know, and here's what it seems to be in the past. Right when they come out with a new version of Open Simulator, all of a sudden we see all these really weird glitches. And then all of a sudden we get the new version and, wow, all those things go away. Isn't that so weird? Particles, again, are using the physics engine also, just so you know. So you gotta be careful using those. You know, run too many of them, and you might see your performance of your sim by. I don't know if all of you guys know how to do this, but if you guys could press Control-Shift-1 for most viewers, you will get the. Let me see what this is called. It's statistics, and you can see things like your ping called ping sim. The lower that number is, the better connection you have. You've got your FPS, which is, you know, the frames per second in which everything's rendering on your end from your computer. And then you've got the Sims FPS and Physics FPS. Those are the two main ones I always pay attention to. Usually if you start seeing it, let's see nearby scripts. I don't see. Not on my viewer. It doesn't show that. But the lower the ping, the better connection you have. Okay. And then, like I said, though, the physics FPS and the sim FPS, that's usually what will happen. So if you're running a bunch of particles on your sim, you could run 5 particles. I could probably write this code myself, and I could crash your sim with 5 particle scripts. Completely crash it. You can't move, you can't walk. You will literally see the sim's FPS and the physics FPS go to almost 0. So you have to be careful, because it'll just wipe it out. It'll just say, goodbye, we're done. Now in SL, they have a whole different setup. They have their engine so it runs much different. So yeah, you definitely have to be kind of careful. But in SL, you got to remember, not too long ago, it was no different in SL. If you ran too many particle scripts and things like that, you were the person suffering from the lag. So it just kind of, you got to be careful with that kind of stuff. But we do have particles, and they do work here. Sounds work here using the sound functions. That's another couple questions people asked me. Yes, they do. It's just according to how your script looks. Making sure that it looks... And I'm sure... the FPS is 0 for me now. What FPS? For Sim?
Everybody's FPS is going to be different depending on their own system, their own connection.
Yeah. That's between you and your computer.
You kind of get a general baseline. So if you're feeling a lot of lag and you're at 0 or 1, then, there's going to be some issues. Not sure where the issue is. You would have to check at multiple things. But even if yours is at 5, ISIS is at 50, so everybody's is different depending on their computers and their connection.
I'm at 120. And I have bad internet connection. Right now I think I got pretty good internet connection, but usually I got pretty bad. But yeah, no, it's the Sims FPS and the physics FPS. That's what the time takes for everything on the sim to run. Or the current region that you're on. So those are the two you guys would look at if you're running a bunch of scripts on your sim and you're like, I'm getting lag. Is it me or is it the sim? Well, that's the first thing you can do. You press Control-Shift-1 and look at Sim's FPS. If it's below, say, 20, or actually below 40, you'll start experiencing it. If it's below 40, yeah, the sim is lagging. But if for some reason you see that up at being in the high 50s or something like that, you need to check the other things like the ping sim. That's how often, that's your ping, actually. It's called ping sim in here, but it's your ping, your internet connection, how fast it can communicate. If the lower the number, the better the speed connection you have. The higher the number, the slower things will get down. That's when you'll say, oh, I hear you breaking up in your voice. If my ping jumps up to 500 or 1,000, all of a sudden you're going to hear me glitching and cutting in and out. I have to sometimes run with this thing on, because keep an eye on my internet. Because of the heat of where I live, the heat basically takes down my connection. So the FPS all by itself is just a good number for ping. Honestly, you really want to know what I think 50 is the best. Honestly, ping sim, it should be 50. But we all know. Here's the difference, though. Okay, let me explain why. If I was to look on a game server, I would want the lowest ping I could possibly find. Now mine's at 200, sometimes around 300, so probably we're all experiencing the same thing. What that really indicates me is your internet is taking that long to go to Wisconsin, make a connection, or wherever your internet service is, and come back and complete the connection to say, hey, here we are. The lower the number means the more instant it is. The higher it gets, you get up into the thousands, and all of a sudden you're going to start feeling like you can't move. So, just to give you an idea on how to use this tool and what some of those things mean, sometimes you can isolate the problem by yourself. Right, the data server center, which should help the connection between, actually that'll help the connection with in-world here. It should be, yeah.
What that's going to do, Lion, with the data center, it will give a faster connection, but it's not going to help with any scripting things. It's going to help your inventory load faster. It's going to help in-world objects res faster. Things like that is what a faster connection is going to do.
Oh, yeah.
It really doesn't have anything else to do. It will,
Yeah.
right, which is the rendering of objects. That's pretty much what a virtual world is rendering of objects.
Yep. And this tool that I was showing you is just when you're on your sim, you're working on something, and you're not sure if you're lagging or if it's something you were working on, say a script or something like that. That's all I was trying to point out, is this is a good tool. It is a developer's tool back in the day, so they can keep an eye on everything. So, you know, like I said, the main three that you got to look for is ping sim. That's your ping. That's your internet connection. The higher the number, the slower it's going to get. You get up to 500, you get up to 1,000, and things are going to run pretty slow for you. Okay, and that's just your internet. There's nothing we can do about that. And then there's the sim FPS and physics FPS. Now that's the first time dilation, so to speak. That the servers from Wisconsin are keeping everything updated for that region. And so, I'll give you an example. If I was res a really heavy script out and it's dropped down to, say, 30 frames a second here, sim FPS and physics, and we were to remote connect to the server, you would see that the thing's pegged. The CPU is pegged, the memory is pegged. It's because it's using up all the resources to run that script. So it's good to know what those tools mean. So if you remember, it's just Control-Shift-1 anytime you want it to pop up. Most viewers, that's the key command. You got the statistics there. FPS, that's just, you know, whatever. But it's this ping sim FPS, and physics FPS to see if it's lag on our end or your end. Yeah, exactly. Now 50, anything above 40 is really good. You're going to be running just fine. So if you go back to your home region, you might see it go as low as to maybe 42 sometimes, just depending on if you got a friend coming over or something, logging in. 0. 0 is the worst. You cannot move at all at 0. You will not be able to move. Something, and that's usually when the region will shut down. The region will try to fix itself, and that's when you'll see, oh, the sim crashed. So a lot of you that are sim owners, this is a good tool because it could be scripts that are doing it. I know that on the script shop, okay, is located at the Oasis Village, right? The shopping place there that you guys are all, you know, for the free place. And I was putting my store items out, and I was seeing every day it was like getting low down to 40. When somebody'd come in, I was like, I better get my stuff out of here. There's too many scripts running. I've got things that are monitoring stuff. They're sending me messages. I'm getting my stuff out of here. So I moved my store items to my actual sim, and I left the script shop stuff in the script shop. And if it gets any worse, then I'll move the script shop to my sim as well. And you know, if it helps, so you guys can. But anyways, this is the kind of tool I look at before I make any kind of quick decisions. Sometimes my internet acts really weird in the heat of Phoenix, Arizona. Sure, ask a question. By all means. That's what we're here for. I like taking the spotlight at the end. This is cool. Yes, I read your note card. I will respond to it as soon as I get a time. I glanced at it. I won't lie. I've been kind of busy, have you noticed? Collision data. Let's see here. Is there a collision data on here? Okay, my viewer's not showing it. Collision data. Collision, yeah, that's what I was talking about. Collision is the collision in the physics engine. That's something I'm working on. Trying to improve it. Even I get looking at that code and I go, what are they doing? That doesn't make any sense. So I try to trace it down, try to fix it. I always try to do small things. I don't try to just jump into it and try to do everything. Well, I don't know if Flexi will actually can cause. I mean, I remember when I had my sim, I had a bunch of flags out on one version of my combat sim, and I had a ton of them. My sim didn't really, lag out or nothing. And they were all Flexi. Yes, they did. Some of them were dead in a row. But I didn't have wind turned on, I don't think, on my sim. I think that's an SL thing only. It depends, I think. I think that's rendering, though. But still, you could be right. Could be right. There could be something to do with Flexi. Sure. But, anyways, when it comes to scripts, that's the kind of stuff I do. Does anybody have any
we need to
questions
keep moving this along because the meeting has gone extra long. Does anybody have any questions for Sub that are not script specific?
That are not script specific?
Yeah, I mean, if you guys are looking for specific kind of scripts and what they do and things, that can be taken up with Sub after the meeting. Just general scripting questions is what we're looking for right now. Okay, just so you know, when it comes to Sub does help with the in-world scripting with all of the members here, but his main job is to be scripting for Island Oasis projects, things that we're having him do. That is his main job. He helps when he can with member scripts and looking at them, kind of things, but his job is for Island Oasis. Not to sound creepy or anything, but he needs to script what I tell him. Just kidding. I know that sounded bad. But it is to make Island Oasis run good. That is kind of Sub's job. And yes, Mom. And we have all different projects that we're working on that he's involved in. Some good scriptures here that you can ask. Yeah, the best thing to do is join a couple groups and, just talk in the groups and just ask, hey, is there a scripter that might be able to help me? You need to be able to network yourself out, and kind of like in Second Life. You don't just find one scripter, and that's the only one you go to. You network yourself out to find who's going to be able to do the best script for you.
Wait, you just took the whole floor. Am I done?
I moved to a side because you were standing up there.
I went and sat down. I was like...
I know you did. I don't know why you did.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess habit. I'm like, okay, here comes the boss. Gotta go sit down. See? I do what I'm told.
You're such a goof. Is there any other questions for Sub on general scripting things? One thing I can tell you, which Tommy had made a comment on earlier, for those of you that own regions, just because a script works on your region does not mean it works well in Island Oasis. One script from a different virtual world could take up all the resources, and it could be just one script.
I thought I talked about the resources. Did I not touch on that?
Did you? Oh.
I thought so.
I
I was
was
talking about particles. I could
Yeah, I was
res
probably
one
ignoring
particle
you.
screw. Yeah, you do that sometimes. But then you steal my
Kidding.
thunder. Then you say, "Oh, the meeting's getting
I
long,"
don't.
but then sit
I
there.
don't.
I wish
I
I could
don't.
poke you. I wish I could poke you right now. Just poke you right now. Just poke you, poke you, poke you, poke you, poke you. Just be like,
Oh,
"Oh, is that
hush.
annoying? Is that annoying?" Just,
I'm going to delete your account.
and I'll delete your session right now.
I know that so sucks. Okay,
All right,
yeah,
thanks,
as
guys.
you can see, us Pelinos, we're definitely a different kind of group. I know. Sierra's yelling at us. Some scripts will go weird if they come together with check scripts. Yeah, Tommy, definitely, that's a good thing to do. Check your scripts.
Oh, speaking of scripts, I totally missed
Oh
it.
my
Sorry,
God.
guys. Sorry, guys. But you have to check this out. Okay, so at the script shop, I invented 2 items that I thought were really smart. And maybe they're just normal things everybody's thinking of, but one's a script counter, Avatar script counter. You can res it, it'll show. The other is an actual, now this only applies to sim owners. If you are the actual sim owner, you can get this script, you can set the time and the amount of scripts that somebody can wear. This is for stores, mainly, for people who own stores. Alright, so like if you go to my store, first of all, if you wear more than 35 scripts, it'll give you a message. You have 60 seconds to change your script count because it's too high, or it'll teleport you home. It'll get that person off your region. So if you've got a lot
I
of high
believe
traffic,
Allie has that over by her also.
oh, that's cool.
It's a
definitely
box. You can't cross the box.
Right. So, yeah, well, I don't really kill people. I just send them home. I don't kill people.
Mine don't kill and
Oh.
mine don't send you home. They just don't let you proceed till you've
Oh,
had the
yeah, no,
opportunity.
it's
But it
there.
lets you know. It doesn't
Yeah.
just stop you or whatever. It gives you a full message to let you know. Because there's 2
Yeah.
separate issues, numbers of scripts and memory. Because you could have somebody with 50 scripts with low memory, and you could have somebody with 3 scripts with high memory. So it deals with both issues, but deals with them separately.
Yeah, not mine. Mine will send you home. I don't want you lagging out my sim. I do it enough. Sorry.
That's not
It's
nice.
just the way it is. Hey, I'm officially a sim owner.
That's true. All right, let's move on. We need to get Damien back up here, please, for one more thing, and then we will open the floor for full discussion.
Hello, everybody. I'm back. I just want to touch real quick on the region support team. We have a team of people here whose job it is to proactively check sims and make sure they're performing correctly. So you may hear from someone on the region support team, one of which is here. Oh, 2. Sarah's here too. Jem and Sarah are both on the region support team. They help me kind of just keep an eye on things and see how things are running and functioning. So you may hear from them, you may hear from me. But our job is to be proactive in making sure everyone's regions are running as expected, and to also address issues that may come up in our travels around the grid and seeing how people's regions are running. If you're experiencing issues with a region, your region, feel free to put a note card in my mailbox at the welcome zone. I check it daily. You can also send me an offline IM because I get those in my email. Make sure others get to your sims and shops. Right, no. It's not snooping, it's making sure that things are running as they should be. That's our objective. As a region support team, we want to make sure that everybody's experience here in IO is as pleasant as possible. Both of my region support staff members are very knowledgeable in troubleshooting region issues. If for some reason they cannot address an issue, they will escalate it to me, and then I will address the issue. One way or another, we will get it resolved.
One thing I did want to bring up, hon, when it comes to that, now the thought just left. I was just going to say something. Never mind.
Anyway, as I was saying, before I was rudely interrupted.
I can't remember. Oh.
Our objective is to make sure everybody's experience in IO is as pleasant as possible. And so we want to make sure that the region owners are happy and the people who visit the regions are happy. So that's what our job is, and so that's what we're doing. We actively go out and check the regions and make sure, and we do it on a regular basis. You don't get to speak now because you interrupted me already.
All right, hold on. No, I got to say it or I'm going to lose it.
Oh my gosh, okay.
Okay, even if you think your region is running fine, you own your region, and you say, well, I don't want people coming on my land and checking. Your region could be affecting everybody else's that is on that server. So, if you have it locked to the public where it is not public access, then please let Damien know, and he will be the one to check it. But one way or another, every region on Island Oasis gets checked for performance because one region could affect multiple regions. So that's all. I just remembered that. Okay, I'll be quiet.
Okay, so you interrupted me for that? Okay, no, just kidding. No, this is a good point.
I did.
So it is your right to have your region locked down, not open to the public, of course. It's your sim. You can do what you want with it. But in an effort to try and make sure that everybody's experience here is as good as possible, we would at least like to have, myself have access so that I can check the region once every couple of weeks just to make sure everything's going okay. So that's it. If you have any questions or issues with your region, again, put a note card in my mailbox at the Welcome Zone. I check it daily. I will get back to you, and we'll get the issue addressed.
I didn't know if you said that yet. If people here
I'm sorry?
are familiar.
I'm sorry?
Who's in the support team? It's Sierra.
I already said Gemini and Sierra.
Oh, I thought you said somebody else and I didn't catch it.
Nope. It was Gemini and Sierra and myself. I head up that department. And I want to ask you later about something. Wake up, sup. Okay. All right. That's all I had. I'm going to hand it back over to Sugar, seeing as how she just likes to talk anyway. So I'm going to give it back to her. Thank you for listening to me, guys. Bye.
Oh my God, whatever. Okay, I'm opening up the floor for all discussion. Does anybody have any questions, comments, or concerns that they, would you stop walking into me, that they would like to have addressed? Yes, I'm talking again. Has anyone been having problems with things disappearing? No, but I wish some things would disappear. Damien, hint, hint. Just kidding. Go ahead, Wizard. You can get on voice.
No, thank you for that, Sugar. I'm going back to something that you said earlier about people leaving because they don't have sales. Now, not knowing how long some of these people have been here, some people need a bit of a reality check. That when you start a business, I don't care whether it's a traditional brick and mortar or whether you're selling online, you have to realize that there's going to be a period of time where you're not going to have a lot of sales, and it's going to take time to be established. And that time frame can range from 6 months to 18 months. And people need to understand that when they come into this world and look at doing something online as a business. Now, my business partner and I, we've been together for 5 years. We have a small indication of what works and what doesn't work. But to think that you're just going to walk into a grid and all of a sudden be making all this money in, say, 2 months' time is utterly ridiculous in a way to look at it. You have to invest both time and money, especially the money side of it. another thing that a lot of people have to look at, even though, including myself, I don't like doing it every now and then. When I create something, I have to be able to look at that and decide whether is it something that I would actually buy myself. I mean, just because I think it looks good doesn't mean someone else is going to buy it. You know, that's really what I wanted to say is that people have these unrealistic ideas of what they're going to be able to do here. I realize the opportunity that you have given us here in the fact that it is not SL. And I foresee that I'm going to be able to make some money here, but it's going to be 18 months down the road. But I have to make my investment now.
Wizard makes a good point. Money can be made, but you need to be realistic about things. You need to look at your product. That's a good one. I could, res a box and try and sell this box for 500 Palinos. Do you think people are going to buy that? Probably not.
A good example is when I was in SL, I was building houses, and man, my houses looked really, really, really good to me. I thought they were awesome, but I might have sold 4 in 2 years. The competition's tough out there, and people are looking for quality products. So you got to kind of take a look at what you're making and saying, will someone else think it looks good too? So you got to ask yourself those questions.
Well, I agree with what Sugar said, that advertising is important. It's very important. But if you don't have the product to back up your advertising, you're dead in the water, just as much as if you didn't advertise at all and had fantastic product.
I think one thing can be said, no matter what you're creating, clothing, cars, no matter what, when you build it and you look at it and you see what's great about it, that gives you a good platform to market from, because you're the creator and you can speak about all these positive points of your item. So don't just say, I have a new car. Say, hey, I have a new car that does this or looks like, give it a great description. Who knows your product better than you? So we just want to make sure that you're also listing all those wonderful features or perks, or maybe used amazing texture on it, or, whatever happened, with the product. Toot your own horn, toot your own horn and talk about how great it is and about how wonderful it is. And that'll help other people see that same aspect of it as well.
All Palinos, do you want to come up to the podium here?
Smack me?
Stop being so stubborn. Oh,
What did I do?
look at them. They're all like, what did I do?
Hi.
Hi.
Do we
Jeff,
fit?
let me address Jeff.
If I must.
Group hug.
Let me
Kat.
let me address Jeff's question. He asked about how can we clear out things in search that are no longer applicable, such as people's classifieds and things like that. We're working on that. We're working on putting together a process where classifieds do get purged, old ones that are no longer applicable. It's not an easy process. It's not as simple as just going in and deleting a bunch of stuffs, because we don't want to inadvertently delete good entries or valid current entries, so we have to be careful. I'm very careful when I purge anything out of the database for any reason. But yes, we have discussed that, and it is a topic of something we're working on, a project that we're going to be working on very soon.
Am I wearing the right attire for this photo out?
Yes, you look stunning.
I was thinking the
One
afro.
thing that you guys can do is keep your classifieds and things like that up to date.
Yeah, and we're finding
That's
that
the
too,
best
even
way.
with people who do stay and don't leave IO, and they'll move their store or they'll close down their store. They'll forget to delete those classifieds.
Right.
Keep them updated, and if they no longer apply, remove them. What we may do is put together a procedure where the classified is only online for a certain period of time, 6 months or something like that, or 3 months.
At least that would help drop out the older ones.
Exactly.
And you don't
But
have
that
to
would
go and
then-
renew weekly or something.
Right, no, and that would be an automated process, though. So, conceivably, you could create an ad today, and 3 months from now, your ad's gone. You have to recreate it.
And ISIS, that's exactly a great point. If you do leave IO, we don't ever want anybody to leave IO. But if you do, just clean up your classifieds. Just delete everything in there.
Look, so shut up, dude.
Sorry.
Oh my God.
Sorry.
These meetings are once a month. These are our town hall meetings. This is the best way for people to get any information, statistics, ask questions, get things answered, bring up topics that maybe we're not even aware of. Are you pushing Allie out of the way?
No.
Yeah,
I'm
he
going to
is.
kick you off the podium.
That was accidental. Sorry.
Sure. Thanks, boss.
Sure. Go.
One thing
Look, if he wants me up
I
here, like
did
this,
want
fine.
to address, in front of all the Palinos here, you see globes on the floor. These globes is kind of like the Second Life Linden Bears. This is the Palino globes. So if anybody would like it, it's just a collection of globes that we have. You have to actually find us around IO. We don't want IMs, or we don't want people saying, hey, I'm having a problem with my land, come over here, and we get there and then say, oh, by the way, can I have a globe? That's kind of the fun part about getting these globes. I know a lot of people have a full collection already. The globes are specifically made by the Palinos themselves, and it kind of represents that Palino. Like Allie is a frog. She has a frog. Just kidding, Allie. I love you.
That's okay. I'm remaking mine. I'm making a Halloween one, so that'll be a fun one.
Okay. So yeah, it's best if you see us around town. All of us are always bopping everywhere, so you will always see us. Damien's is probably the hardest one to get, because he does a lot of work not in world. He's working on the server, so that's usually the hardest one. Okay, so does anybody else have any questions, comments, concerns that they would like to bring up? I'm in the hospital in real life. Oh, no. Well, I pray everything goes well. For developer from the game development industry
What is this way for you?
in this world as a new content creator.
Ooh, we can talk about that later. You mean for game development, for like your items, for your sound, for your game ideas? Whew, fellow game developer. Oh, this is awesome. Oh, that was probably too fast. You said something about game development. I said, are you talking about like your content for a game? Who do you go see if you want to sell the content? Oh, well then you and I can meet up a little bit later. There's a couple places that I know. You can talk to indie games. There's a lot of developers. There's a lot of open. It just kind of depends. I'm assuming you want to make money at this, right? 3D, 2D, doesn't matter. A lot of developers will purchase items. They might even hire you, actually. Yeah, we'll talk after the meeting or something.
Okay, is there any other questions, comments, concerns that you would like to be addressed? Going once?
Yeah, why are we standing up here?
Cause, shush.
Oh,
Going
okay.
twice?
You could say cheese. Here we
Oh
go.
my god, you're so retarded.
I don't
Yes.
want to be
Where can we
working.
buy oil for sub? Oh, jeez. Okay, everybody, thank you again for coming to this month's meeting. Yeah. Um, thank all of you. I want to thank all of you for being a part of IO because you guys are what makes IO happen. We can build a grid, but you guys build the community. So enjoy the rest of your day. If anybody needs to discuss anything, we'll be around. I'll be up in my office. Just let me know and I'll teleport you up to my office. Otherwise, have a fantastic day. Take care,
All right,
everyone.
boss, do you want us to meet with you? Is that what's going on?
No, not right away. We're good.
Not right away. Tomorrow? Still having our meeting tomorrow?